now that we know what a CFC is,
Yes.
we can get more into explaining Form 5471.
That's the one.
Which is the information return of U.S. persons with respect to certain foreign corporations. Okay, so I looked it up on our good old friend irs.gov.
Mm-hmm.
And I always love their explanations.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really explain anything, but Form 5471 is used by certain U.S. citizens and residents who are officers, directors, or shareholders in certain foreign corporations. The form and schedules are used to satisfy the reporting requirements of Sections 6038 and 6046 and the related regulations. They say a whole lot of nothing in something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and you know what? Something just popped out because I was looking at that earlier today. You said is used by certain U.S. citizens and residents.
Mm-hmm.
Because wait a second, that doesn't mean U.S. person.
Right.
What if you're a U.S. Because what? Okay, because I'm just thinking of this. America Samoa.
Okay.
You're not a U.S. citizen.
You're right.
You're a naturalized person. So what if you're in Samoa, America Samoa? Do you have a Form 5471 for your offshore requirements? And I guess maybe the residents. Maybe they'll say, well, you're not a U.S. citizen, but you're a U.S. resident in American Samoa.
Huh.
You know, that's why, I was mentioning something earlier today. There are, never is a very difficult word to use in tax, with the tax world effectively.
Yes.
Maybe, perhaps, oftentimes.
Sometimes depends.
Usually, what tends to happen. Those are the better ones. I'll tell you, the absolutes are just something you just want to steer away from. I mean, in law, you learn that. You learn that the best answer is it depends. And when in tax law, it's squaring that it depends. I mean, it depends and it depends.
And it depends. And I love their use of the word certain. Certain U.S. citizens, certain foreign corporations.
You can't even say U.S. citizens.
Which ones?
Right. You're not even able to say everything is qualified.
Yep.
Everything is qualified.
Yes.
And that's just not just true of Form 5471s, but everything about the taxes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so Form 5471 came about in 1960. The original requirement started as domestic corporations required to file their foreign income or
on their foreign corporations.
Right.
So it started off pretty simply, like most things, right? Like the FBAR started off as like, this will get down criminals who are laundering money, not punishing innocent retirees who forgot to file a stupid form, right? It all starts off innocently. And so this is where in 1960, it starts off pretty innocently. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, you big domestic corporations with all your fancy accountants and lawyers, we're going to make a requirement on you because we're a little bit worried that you're hiding income overseas. So what we're going to do is we're going to require you to give your asset and balance sheet on any foreign corporations that you control. Okay, so it kind of makes sense, and it's pretty limited.
Right.
A person doesn't have to do it, only a corporation. And so that kind of, all right, and a corporation sort of has the resources to go through all of this stuff to file it. But it can't last.
When did it change?
1962, and for those of us who have watched or know a little bit about Subpart F, that's also the year of Subpart F, the year the income tax died. That's also the year, and then they sort of changed a couple things there because, again, the Subpart F is so people can't use a foreign entity to defer their income. It comes to the individual. So now they have to change the filing requirement from U.S. corporations to now corporations and persons. So boom, and you're really given, and if you think about it, the Form 5471, its first requirement was for corporations.
Yes.
That's what it's designed for. And now they're just tacking it on to say, and you too. Multinational corporations and you.
You guys.
So that is one of the big changes that happened there. Did we have another big change in 62? I think so. We're going to be talking about those, in our last,
we'll
the
talk
penalties.
About penalties in a few minutes.
Yep.
And what you said is interesting is, the large corporations they've got the means to fill these forms out. They have entire accounting departments. If you're just a guy.
Right. And the other thing, too, is that these foreign corporations are able to take advantage of deferral in a way that U.S. an individual taxpayer isn't. So it's like, well, you know what? Dude, you're saving a lot on your taxes there. You got to do some compliance work. Here you could not be saving a dime. You could be killed with subpart F income, and worse, you have a 5471 filing requirement.
And what I love about the IRS is that with every form on the instructions, they estimate how long they think it's going to take you. So I looked up Form 5471. Record keeping is a little over 82 hours. Learning about the law or the Form 16. Preparing and sending out to the IRS is 24 hours. So you're looking at, if you work nonstop without sleeping, 5 days to fill out this
5
form.
days.
Or
without sleeping.
Without sleeping.
What about breaks?
If you were going to do, say, 8-hour days,
Okay.
15 days. 15 8-hour days.
Okay, that's intense.
Yeah, for the form.
Yeah, and so that's really where it comes from, because it is designed for corporations, and then it was tacked on to individuals because they needed it to enforce subpart F. Then our notable change, I think our last notable change with the law, when we're looking at section USC 26 USC 6038, the notable change was in 1998. They changed it just to say, oh wait, people also have partnerships too. It's not a corporation. All right, partnerships too are now required, and that is Form 8865.
Wow, they don't miss a beat.
So that's where that comes up, and we also see very similar penalties. The 8865 has a very similar penalty as to the 5471, which we'll be talking about in our next bit.
Yes, and as we were sort of investigating this, we came across the question, who's the majority owner? Does everyone have to fill out Form 5471? Does only one person do who? Right,
because it's just one corporation. Why do you need the same thing a million times? And by the way, you would have, if you had 10 different, U.S. shareholders filling out a Form 5471s, I'd say you have 10 different Form 5471s. They would all be a little bit different. Which one's right?
The best
take the
one.
average? I don't know. Yeah. What happens in that case? And the answer is there's only one Form 5471 required to be filed. So if you do have that requirement and you have an idea that, hey, wait, there's someone else who's a U.S. person and they seem to be pretty compliant-y, give them a call to say, hey, did your guy file a Form 5471? Hey, could you mind if I get your information? Because then on your tax return, you would put a statement to say, I know I have a 5471 filing requirement. However, it's been filed. Here's the identifying information. If you don't do that, you have to send in your 5471 or those horrible penalties we'll be talking about.
So how do you find out who it is?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe your corporation has a forum, a Facebook page, right? Go on Facebook. I know, right? That wouldn't be the worst idea. Hey, anyone else here? Yeah. Who's really one? And I believe, and if I recall, it really should be the majority owner should be the one with the requirements. So if you have an idea that there is somebody, a majority owner, and especially if the majority owner happens to be another corporation, that's, there's more than likely they did file it, and you could just, and you don't need the copy of it.
Right.
That's one of the things. The Form 5471, what the hell do they need it for?
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's the balance sheet and the income statement. Well, you already put your income on the return, anything that's taxable. So why do they need to know that? And it's like, what do they do with it?
And can you call the IRS and verify? Hey, did somebody already file this Form 5471? Do you need power of attorney to get that?
I don't know I can't really think of a way, because you need to know some identifying number of the Form 5471. And you would need a power of attorney to get some form. And first of all, you would need an EIN associated with that, or TIN, some taxpayer identification number associated with that form in order to get it, to know. So I don't know how you would be able to call the IRS to say, hey, anybody just read that this 54, my accountant just gave me a quote for a 5471 and it's like 20 grand. So just wondering if I really have to do this, because I'm looking at the penalties, which we'll be talking, we've been really teasing those. Yeah. They're a lot of fun.
They are.
Yeah. So it's really something that's important to know. Hey, IRS, do I really have to file this? Because you might have it on file. Oh, we have no idea if we have it. Right? So, I mean, they're really using that. Well, we don't have any independent way to check to see.
How about you tell me your name?
We'll let
you know.
Yeah.
Chuck, check this guy out.
So it's really, I think it's really checking in with your corporation, seeing who's there is like, look, I'm a U.S. person. Anyone else, you can talk to me. I'm looking to see if this form has been filed because it's significant. And also maybe if you have a bunch of different U.S. persons, they all can pool together. They all can say, okay, what would be fair if we all put our share in to get the Form 5471. $20,000 is an expensive one, by the way. Just that's for a very big foreign corporation. That's not usually what it is. It's still, the issue for us is we're doing multiple 5471s, multiple years, and so that's when it gets crazy. You're really looking at about $2,000 is a very good deal. And I know some large firms won't touch them. Well, actually, my $20,000 is pretty right for them. The big,
big ones.
Well, there's also there's a lot of back and forth, and that's really for the first one. Subsequent years are a lot easier.
Got it. IRS Medic, the law offices of Parent and Parent, LLP, real tax attorneys for tough tax problems.